Right now at 4:30, breaking news, a plan to send federal troops here to Chicago. This afternoon, Governor Pritzker said that the Department of Homeland Security officially made a request to activate the military to protect ICE facilities in Illinois. Political reporter Chris Ty in the West Loop for us, where the governor and Mayor Brandon Johnson talked about this increased federal presence. Chris.
Yeah, Marie, it's very clear that this is a widening out of so-called Operation Midway Blitz, which has been underway for about 30 days here in Chicago. As we know, over the weekend, we saw those folks in camouflage with long guns walking around the loop in River North on boats on the Chicago River, sending out a clear message that they are here in the most strident way we have seen so far. Again, as you noted off the top of the show, in just the last hour, we learned from the governor, and this is exactly how it worked, that the Department of Homeland Security notified the Department of War, which has been recently renamed from the Department of Defense, and that the message is 100 more military troops are coming to Illinois. What is unclear is what kind of military troops are we talking about. There is no indication that this is the National Guard, which has, of course, been so much a focal point of this conversation in recent weeks. I want to play for you a little bit of what the governor said today. He talked about how the head of this effort, Greg Bovino, has gone on the record as saying that they are making arrests based on how people look, that this was supposed to be something where they were targeting the worst of the worst. The governor says they have lied on that front. Mayor Johnson, his first comment since this weekend's unfolding of these folks with long guns down Michigan Avenue and Wacker Drive, saying that this weekend was a disgrace, that it's about power, money, and trying to continue the Trump administration potentially indefinitely. Let's listen to what the governor said.
Moments ago, the Illinois National Guard received word that the Department of Homeland Security has sent a memo to the Department of War seeking the deployment of 100 military troops to Illinois, claiming a need for the protection of ICE personnel and facilities. What I have been warning of is now being realized. Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan said they were targeting the worst of the worst criminals. They lied, and they continue to lie.
What we saw yesterday was an absolute disgrace. Families, visitors, everyday Chicagoans were out enjoying our city, and they were met with dozens of heavily armed federal agents aiming to strike fear in our communities.
So a couple of other things that we have learned here, as we have reported extensively over the last 36 hours, one of our colleagues at CBS News Chicago was struck, her vehicle was struck, and she was affected by the authorities in Broadview, West Suburban Broadview. And the governor was asked about that, and we specifically asked, Governor, what can you do to protect protesters and journalists in Broadview? He did not have a very robust answer on what can be done when you're dealing with federal law enforcement officials. We're going to have more on that coming up on our news at 5 o'clock. Also, Marie, two other things I want to point out. We heard from someone from the Resurrection Project who said that there are 200 people inside that Broadview facility, that they are not a detention center out there, that there aren't a sufficient number of beds and showers, that sometimes it becomes a black hole for people that they represent. They're being fed by way of Subway kids meals as days turn into weeks, many of these people not being able to be heard from. And finally, the governor saying of the 1,500 people taken into custody by ICE in operations like the one in Chicago and elsewhere, of the 1,500, 60%, he says, do not have a criminal background. A lot of new information coming in just the last hour or so, but the headline here at 4:30 is that 100 more military troops are headed to Chicago. What context, what departments? We're going to try to suss that out here in the hours ahead. For now, live in West Loop, Chris Ty, CBS News, Chicago.
Chris, thank you for bringing us all those new headlines.